It's a blowout. 8th inning, 10-3. Bases are loaded for Verlander, who waits on a 3-0 pitch. He swings, and it's a high fly ball. Deep center field. It is gone. Home run. And a huge bat flip to celebrate. All right, Ben, start the show already.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Flippin Bats. This one is going to be a lot of fun. All-star infielder for the Cleveland Guardians, Andrés Giménez, is about to join me. This guy's journey is unbelievable. At 16 years old, he came over to the United States to play professional baseball from Venezuela. So we're going to dive into that story. His year this year has been incredible. Talk all about his all-star experience. So I'm really excited to talk to him and just see how he figured it out at the big league level. After being traded from the Mets, he was a part of that Francisco Lindor trade, traded at such a young age, struggled in the big leagues that next year, but figured it all out and is now a Major League Baseball all-star forever. He'll forever have that. So this is going to be a fun conversation. Just an FYI here, there is Andrés Giménez himself and his interpreter with him. Sometimes Andrés will answer the questions in English and other times his interpreter will. So you will be hearing two different voices throughout this, but always one great answer. So I'm pumped for you guys to hear this one. Let's get to it and welcome in now all-star infielder for the Cleveland Guardians. All right, and I am pumped to welcome in all-star infielder for the Cleveland Guardians, Andrés Giménez. Andrés, thank you so much for joining me.
No problem. My pleasure to be here.
So let's start with this 2022 Guardians team. You guys last year were 80 and 82, under 500. And right now, you guys are playing great baseball. You're well above 500 in first place. What's been the biggest difference for this year's Guardians team compared to last year's team?
It's hard to tell for me a little bit compared to last year, since I was only half of the year when I was sitting down in a way. But what I can tell about this year is that we have a very united clubhouse, that we're playing for the same goal, and also that we're having fun. So I think that's the key that has enabled us to play the way how we play so far.
How much more fun is it being a part of a playoff race at this point in the year?
I think it's really fun. I think that's what the reason why we play for, right? To have these type of games at these type of circumstances, and especially, like the series that we're about to start, we're fighting for everything, and that's really exciting for anybody who is in a competitive level to be playing at this level, at this dimension.
So you guys have three big games coming up against the Chicago White Sox. You're ahead of them in the division. They're right behind you. It's the middle of September. Playoffs are right around the corner. How excited are you guys for that series against the White Sox? Are you looking forward to, if you sweep that series, the division is in your grasp. So how much is the team looking forward to that big series with the White Sox?
I mean, we are excited to be, fighting for a playoff push, but we are focused just on this series coming up with the Twins, and after we're gonna think on the White Sox. But we are really happy to have those kind of games.
So you were an all-star this year, Andrés. The first time in your career, you're a Major League Baseball all-star. Tell me about that moment when you first found out. What were your feelings when you found out you were going to be an all-star?
I want to cry, honestly. When Tito told me in the clubhouse, he did like a meeting, and he gave the news to everyone, and I honestly wanted to cry, but I hold my tears there. But it's really exciting part, exciting news, and just go there and enjoy the moment.
Let's talk about that experience. How awesome was that experience for you? When you look back on that few days in Los Angeles for your first All-Star game, what are some of the memories that you'll remember?
I think the memory that I always have in my thoughts is when I come into the clubhouse and I see, all those guys, all those big names. You see Aaron Judge, you see Mike Trout, you see Miguel Cabrera, and it's really amazing. It was a really special moment for me.
Was there anybody that you met that you were starstruck by? Like, oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Honestly, Miggy, because, I grew up in Venezuela, and that's the person that, everyone wants to be like. And, when I was with him in the same clubhouse. I was like, oh my God, this is me.
That's so cool. So I want to talk about your life a little bit and how you got to where you are right now, which is an all-star in the big leagues, which is incredible. But you grew up in Venezuela and exactly where Miggy did, as you just mentioned. And how did you fall in love with the game of baseball, being a little kid from Venezuela?
I think all started when I started seeing my cousin, my older cousin, when I was 3 years old, and since then it's been like a complete love for the sport. And for me, it's a little sometimes surreal because for me, seeing that this is my job, but this is something that I also used to do and play on PlayStation. So it's kind of like surreal to realize that. And even though sometimes you get caught up into this is a job you do every day, it's really cool to realize at times that this is what I do for a living, and this is my profession right now.
And in 2015, you signed to be a professional baseball player around 16 years old. What was that like for you, signing to become a pro athlete, leaving your home, leaving your family, your friends, and going to an entirely new country at such a young age?
In reality, it was very difficult. It was the first time I was ever away from my family for a considerable period of time. But that passion for the game was actually what helped me go through that process, and especially the support of my family. My family reminded me that all the sacrifices will be worth it at some point, and it was worth it to do it because of baseball, because that's my passion, the career I chose. So I think at the end it worked out, but it was definitely a tough time and a big learning experience for me.
So it's a tough transition for you personally, but professionally as well in baseball. You're so young when you come over and you're playing pro baseball, and it went so well for you at a young age. You excelled in the minor leagues. You're in the futures game at 19 years old. Was there a tough transition for you in a baseball sense, or did it just come naturally to you to pick it up and keep playing?
Oh, yeah, I would say I have a couple tough moments through the minor leagues. I think my second year, first time here in USA, I think I have a lot of struggling there. And I would say last year here, and but every day is a process. Every day you try to learn something, and I think every day is a new challenge. So that's how I took the baseball life.
What wasn't a challenge for you was in 2020 when you became a Major League Baseball player for the first time. You find out you're going to be a big leaguer. Take me through the moment you found out you were a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, with 2020, with all the challenges with the pandemic, it was difficult. I didn't know where it's going to go. I ended up going to the alternate side 2.0 with the Mets, and keep working there. And then July 22nd at 7 p.m., Luis Rojas, the manager at the time for the Mets, called me over to give me the news. But I was a little bit in shock. I called him back to make sure I was getting the right information. I wasn't sure that he was actually calling me up. So that day was a lot of emotions, a lot of crying, and talking to my family. But just trying to get it all together to be ready for the next day and focus on the game. Unfortunately, my family wasn't able to be there because of the limitations due to the pandemic. But the next day arrived, and I was excited to just have that dream come true.
That's so awesome. And that offseason, you play that year with the Mets. That offseason, at 21 years old, you're traded. You're part of the Francisco Lindor trade. Lindor to the Mets, you and some others off to Cleveland. What was that like for you, 21 years old, to find out the only organization you had ever known to that point traded you to Cleveland, and you were going to be off in a big transition for you?
I mean, I can deny it was very difficult, especially for all the unknowns. That's the only organization you know in your whole life. That's why you learn how to play baseball professionally. So it was hard to know, and seeing that you're going to a different organization, especially for all the unknowns, not knowing what to expect was going to be like. But most importantly, as soon as I arrived to this organization, I feel they well received and feel really welcome the whole time to the organization. I couldn't be more thankful for the way how they have welcomed me with open arms, and I'm very thankful to the organization in the city, and I'm looking forward to do my best for this organization.
And you mentioned it before, but your first experience in the big leagues with the Guardians didn't go great. And at one point you were sent down to AAA and kind of figured it all out. And when you came back up, you played great baseball. When you went down to AAA last year and had struggled in the big leagues, you get sent down, come back up and succeed. What did you figure out? Did something click while you were down there in the minor leagues?
I felt like for me, it was more like having the proper room to find myself again and ask those questions. What should I do? What I'm capable of doing, and make the adjustments for that and to do it. So that allowed me to learn a little more about my routines, my consistency, and the importance of those things. So when I got called up, I was able to put that into practice and reaffirm the importance of the routines, the consistency of my preparation and my execution during the games. Because again, you're competing every day here in the game. You have to learn how to make the adjustments as you go. So I feel the biggest part, the biggest lesson that made me have that click was understanding the importance of my consistency, my routines on a day-to-day game playing.
So this year, it's been incredible, man. I'm so pumped for you. An all-star at the big league level. You go down last year, you come up, you figure it out, and this year you've really taken off. You're hitting 300 more power than you've had in your career to this point. You're rolling. And for you this year, coming into spring training, coming into this season, what were your goals? What was your thought process heading into this year?
Honestly, my goal was trying to keep the same team that I was doing at the end of the last season. And honestly, want to be part of the team, on the big league team, and, try to have a good year, but it's been really good. But honestly, that was my goal, stay on the team the whole year and try to help the team. That's the most important.
Yeah, so you're still so young, and you come over from a different organization to a new organization. Who on this team, who on the Guardians has kind of taken you under their wing and just been like a good mentor for you?
I feel like it would be kind of unfair to just point out one person or two people in terms of who's the one who helped me. Because in reality, I feel like what has enabled us to have success this year is that we have that way of helping each other generally and have the right words at the right time for everybody. Like it comes to them, to players, to coaches, to trainers. Like it's been that real, wisdom and help whenever it's needed for everybody. And most importantly, because it feels that everybody's on the same page. So I feel like it wouldn't be fair to point out one person, but in general, as a whole, the whole environment that we have in the clubhouse and the coaches and the trainers.
Yeah, that's fair. And so next year, there's some big rule changes coming to Major League Baseball. 2023, a lot of different rules coming, and they really affect you a lot more so than others because you're an infielder, a middle infielder, and a restriction on the shift is a big deal. What are your thoughts on it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Are you willing to try it out? What are you thinking about the shift?
I mean, to be honest, it'll be hard for me to tell because in reality, I never play without the shift. And most importantly, I always play with the shift at shortstop. So this was my first year playing second and adjusting to that. So it will be hard for me to make a proper statement because I don't know. In reality, we'll have to see. And I feel everybody will have to make an adjustment next year and see how we adjust to that new set of rules. But we'll see how it goes next year.
When this news came out a couple of weeks ago that the rule changes were going to take into effect in 2023, which is next year, what was kind of the thought of the team? Was everybody surprised? Are people excited? Like your teammates, what was the response in the locker room to these big rule changes coming to Major League Baseball?
I mean, to be honest, I feel like nobody has talked anything about that or in major terms because in reality, we're so focused on every day and all the games that we have left. We're so focused on this year that we haven't had the chance to actually talk about next year. That seems like something so distant down in the future for us that we just focus on a daily basis on the games that we have in front of us.
So some fun questions for you here. And the first one would be, in your career so far, who has been the toughest pitcher that you've ever faced?
Aaron Nola from the Philadelphia Phillies. In 2020.
What'd you do? Strike out?
I don't know. We had 4 ABs. I think he got me like 2 or 3 times, and I faced him almost every time. And I got like, I don't know, I have 0 hits for sure. And but it was like a battle every time, 7 or 8 pitch at bat or something like that. But he's really tough. He's really smart.
If you could face any pitcher in the history of baseball, current, past, dead, alive, it doesn't matter, who would you want to face?
Yeah, I would say Santana, Johan Santana, lefty on lefty. Yeah.
Oh.
And see that changeup. Johan Santana.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That changeup.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, lefty on lefty. I don't know. But yeah, I will go with him.
So you were there in Cleveland for the transition from Indians to Guardians. When you first heard the team name was going to be Guardians, what was your first thought? Do you remember hearing it, and what was your first thought when you did?
I don't know. I just have a fun thought about it. When I found out that the name of the team is gonna change, I come into the spring training trying to make the team, and I was like, oh, maybe I'm gonna be the first number 0 in the Guardians organization. So that's the thought that I
got. So for you, what is one secret talent or one thing that you have that most people don't know?
I mean, one thing that people may not have an idea, I'm a good sketcher, like make drawings. So I continue making good draws, and I consider that I have that really good skill that I feel very few people know about.
And I think not so many people know that I'm lefty. Like left-handed. I born left-handed. He was born left-handed.
What?
Early in my career, I wasn't throwing my right arm. I was throwing with my left hand. And
can you still?
That's what I hit left-handed, but not throw.
Can you still throw left-handed? Like if you wanted to, could you throw left-handed?
Yeah, I will try, but it's not the same. And it hurts.
It hurts. That's so cool. I had no idea. So Andrés, this year has been so awesome for you. Your career has been really fun to watch so far, but it's been an interesting journey for you. So young, coming over to the United States, shooting through the minor leagues, getting traded, struggling, and now being an all-star. If you could give some advice to anybody growing up playing the game of baseball, what would your advice be to them?
I will say, first of all, stay positive. Stay positive the whole time, no matter what the results are. Believe in you and your talent, and especially in God. And work hard every single time, every single day. Doesn't matter if you go 0 for 4 or you go 4 for 4. Next day is gonna be a new challenge. So just work hard and believe in yourself and in your talent.
That's awesome, man. Well, Andrés, thank you so much for joining me, man. Good luck the rest of the season. You guys are in first place, making your playoff push. Thank you for joining me. Congratulations on being an all-star and a great year. You got a big fan in me, and thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it, man.
No problem, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course. See ya. All right, I just wanted to thank Andrés for joining me. What a great dude, and also learned that he's ambidextrous. Basically, can throw with his right or his left side, and he's actually left-handed, but throws right-handed as a middle infielder. So sick. What a great story from Andrés, and really cool to see him being an all-star this year, and to know he was so happy about it, and to know he got pretty emotional about his call up to the big leagues and being told he was an all-star. Well, that's the stuff you just love to hear, and that's what we love here on Flippin Bats. Good energy, good vibes, great stories, and that is certainly one of them. So I hope you all enjoyed that interview with Andrés Giménez. Make sure you're checking him out as he goes down this stretch. He's a lot of fun to watch. So thank you all for listening. This one's been a lot of fun. Make sure you like, subscribe anywhere you listen to your podcast, Apple or Spotify, wherever it may be. And follow along on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. And you can watch every single episode as well on YouTube at Flippin Bats Pod for all of them. Thank you all for listening, and I will see you next time for another episode of Flippin Bats. Peace.